Live.
Bonjour. Welcome to Soirée's Bastille Day Cocktail Hour. We are here at my place. We're having a couple of French-inspired cocktails, and then we're going to head to downtown LA. There are a couple fantastic French restaurants and wine bars that are having big happy hour celebrations today for Bastille Day. There is also, of course, the soccer finals tomorrow with France versus Croatia. So if you're a Francophile, if you enjoy French food and French cocktail, this is a very good weekend to get together with your friends and have a little party. So we just actually got back from Paris a few weeks ago, and Paris didn't used to be much of a cocktail town. It was more of a wine town, an aperitif town, and the cocktail scene in Paris has gone crazy lately. It's really enjoyable to see all these new cocktail bars springing up, everything from craft cocktails to absinthe bars to beer halls, to your typical wine bars. So there's a little bit of something for everyone there now. It's not just about wine, and I encourage you to get out and Google and really explore. The Pigalle section is Cocktail Central, so don't miss that. One of the quintessential summer cocktails is not French. It's actually an Italian liqueur, but you get it in Paris, you get it in Italy, you get it all throughout the warm months in Europe, and it is an Aperol Spritz. Now, Aperol is a bitter orange liqueur, bright orange color. If you are somebody who has always been nervous about Campari because it's a little too assertive for you, Aperol is a really great way for you to explore that kind of flavor profile without it really grabbing you by the throat. So an Aperol Spritz couldn't be any simpler. You just take a wine glass or the glass of your choice, and you're gonna drop in, I gotta find a smaller ice cube because these don't fit in the wine glasses. You're gonna drop in a couple ice cubes. I have my guest and tech support here, who actually was my Paris travel pal as well. So she, nice all over the place. She came in and she goes, Aperol! Because we enjoyed Aperol Spritzes by the side of the Seine one day, and it was really a lot of fun. So this couldn't be simpler. You really are just taking a bottle of Aperol. You can find this at most liquor stores. Look for it where the Campari is. They don't have it at the grocery store unless you've got a really good grocery store. You're just gonna put about equal parts Aperol to champagne or Prosecco, whatever you prefer. I'm using a Prosecco that I already had opened because I never don't have Prosecco open in my fridge. And also, you don't want to use a good champagne here or expensive bubbly because you're going to lose the flavor of it completely. Aperol is fairly aggressive, although again, it's much gentler than its cousin Campari. So this is just a really fun, refreshing cocktail. And look at the color. It's just like happy to look at. I like to garnish with a strawberry, and you can garnish with a little bit of orange slice as well. Let's see where I cut these bad boys. And you've got summer in a glass. Oops, I killed my strawberry. Would you like to join me?
I would, yes.
Cheers!
Cheers. Not like the garnish in France, though.
No, she got a crazy cocktail, an Aperol Spritz, and the garnish
was a marshmallow.
And gummy
gummies.
something.
And
Gummy
gummies.
something. Yeah, it was like a pick with all these candies on it. It was really funny. We had gone to a little bistro to grab something for lunch or breakfast, I think we were calling it at that time. Cheers! And she had...
Sante.
Yeah, these are never bad.
Never bad.
These are a really nice brunch drink, or if you're out by the pool and you're having people over for a barbecue. Aperol is not super, super high proof alcohol. So depending on how you mix it, you can make these a little gentler. Also, if you want to take down the alcohol content, especially in the summer when you don't want people to get plastered by the pool, you can still put a little bit of Prosecco in, but sub in some sparkling water or club soda. It's still just as refreshing and just as delicious, but you've taken the alcohol content down quite a bit. So I'm going to put this behind me so I can continue to sip it as I talk to you. And I made a few little snacks, but I didn't go heavy on the food like I usually do for these because we are actually heading to a restaurant that has really great food. But I couldn't resist doing two of my absolute favorite Paris food discoveries One is buttered radishes. You're gonna think this sounds super weird, but it does sound weird. She's like, because it does. Yeah, it does. You seriously just take a radish, and I like to leave like a little bit of the green on and cut them in half. If you buy the bigger radishes, you can slice them very thin on a mandolin like radish chips. And all you're doing is taking a little swipe of butter. I've gotten the good French butter at Trader Joe's. And then you can sprinkle a tiny bit of fleur de sel on it. And it's so delicious and so refreshing. It's great picnic food. It's great barbecue food. It's great at cocktail parties. You get the fatty yumminess of the butter against the bite, the sharpness of the radish. And there's something just magical about it. Trust me, it sounds bizarre. Try it, you will love it. Even if you're not a radish fan, this is really, really fantastic. And then I made little hamon sandwiches. It's just buttered baguette with Gruyere cheese and ham, and I know Lisa wants one because I haven't let her eat since she got here, so I'm gonna let her have her way with some things now. These are fantastic. We actually grabbed these. We ran around so much in Paris, and we felt like we never had time to do anything because we were so busy having fun. So we hadn't eaten by the time we got to the airport, and we grabbed these in the airport and smuggled them on the plane and ate enormous, like foot-long hamon beurre sandwiches on the plane on the way back, and they hit the spot. They were fantastic. So I also have a little experiment. It's not very French, but it's my house, so I can do what I want. I've been playing around with different crostinis with summer fruits. And I tried this one a couple weeks ago, but it needed a modification because there was something missing. So I took sliced sourdough baguette and I rubbed a little bit of olive oil on it and grilled it. I don't want to spill this. Then you put a little smear of ricotta. Now, I make my own homemade ricotta. Do not buy that stuff in the grocery store. It's really not pleasant. You can make ricotta. It's just a heavy cream and milk and white vinegar and a little bit of salt. It's the easiest thing in the world. Ina Garten has a great recipe if you Google and go online and find her recipe. It couldn't be simpler, and you can adjust the consistency if you want it very firm or a little softer. It's just lovely. So give it a try. Make your own ricotta. It makes such a huge difference, especially if you're doing like cheesecake or cannoli or anything like that. So I did homemade ricotta. I spread a little bit on the crostini. I chopped up some fresh cherries, which are in season and which are wonderful right now. And I wanted to tie in one of the alcohols that we're bringing up next, which is pastis, which is an anise flavored liqueur. And so I got some tarragon, which is also an anise flavor in fresh herbs, and I chopped some fresh tarragon onto this. And then, this is the magic, I have this hot, spicy honey, and you just drizzle it on top, and it's crazy good. You get the smoothness of the ricotta and the crunch of the crostini and the sweetness of the cherries, and then this spicy bite with the honey. So it's pretty good. I'm gonna let Lisa have her way with these as well while I'm mixing. So see, this is what happens when you come and help me with the camera. You get fed. So yeah, just a few bites. Usually if it were not quite so hot outside, I would have done my gougères, my cheesy poofs. No, Lisa, there's no gougères today. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. It's just too delicious, though. Oh, good. It's just too hot to turn on the oven today. I actually grilled the bread on my barbecue outside on the balcony, so I wouldn't melt in here. But yes, gougères would typically be part of any French cocktail hour that I do.
The tarragon makes us rock.
She's making happy faces and saying the tarragon really adds something. Yeah, wait till I get to the next cocktail because it has that same flavor in it. Yeah, and so sometimes I try to do that when I'm trying to pair cocktail bites with the drinks that I'm serving, is think about what fruit element do I have in common, or what herb element do I have in common. Think of a flavor that you're using in either your food or your cocktail and see if you can tie it into the other item. So that's a great segue, in fact.
Exactly.
So the tarragon, which is an herb that isn't super easy to find in the grocery store. Sometimes they have it, sometimes they don't. I happened to get lucky today. Is kind of that anisey, fennelly black licorice flavor. So this is weird. I don't like black licorice. I loathe it. I think it's vile. But I love fennel, and I love anise, and I love absinthe, and I love pastis. So I can't really explain it other than I find those flavors all really different from the black licorice candy, but they're in the same family. So if you think you hate black licorice, give some of these a try anyway, because they really are different enough that you may enjoy them all. So one of my other favorite things that I discovered in Paris is a pastis. And it's, as I said, an anise flavored liqueur. It's related to absinthe, but it's not as high alcohol proof. It's a little gentler than absinthe, and it didn't suffer that whole wormwood issue, illegality in the States thing that we went through several years back with the absinthe. It's very typical throughout France to go to a sidewalk cafe and order un ricard or un pernod, which are brands, and you'll get a glass, and you'll get maybe 2 ice cubes in the glass because they're not big on ice there, and then you'll get a little jug of water, and you'll have like a little bit of the absinthe in the glass, and you add as much water as you want to dilute it, and it creates that similar louche effect that you get if you're having absinthe and doing the whole absinthe tasting and adding water. And what the louche effect is it creates kind of like a milkiness, and it changes the color of the liqueur itself into a milky, cloudy, depending on the brand, maybe a little yellowish liqueur or beverage, instead of a clear, darker green or gold or color. And all I can say is it's one of the most refreshing things that I can imagine. You sit at a cafe and you sip this drink, and it revives you. So if you've been walking around the city all day and you're exhausted and it's hot, sit down, have a little pastis, and you will feel revitalized. Mm-hmm. So just a basic pastis, nothing fancy, as I said. You just take, I am dropping ice cubes everywhere today. I'm just slightly dangerous here in the kitchen, and I haven't even started drinking. Okay, so I'm gonna pull the Ricard, which I actually prefer a little bit, although the Pernod is really nice. And you just wanna put like a little bit in the bottom of the glass with ice, like this. So I'm doing built cocktails today. I'm not shaking anything up. A built cocktail is a cocktail that gets made either right in the glass or in a mixing glass and is stirred. It's not shaken over ice in your traditional Boston shakers or other shakers. So to this, you just want to add some water. I have some bottled water here. You can go tap if you'd like. But you'll see as I add this, you can see the liquid turns a little milky. It doesn't have that dark yellow flavor anymore, or color rather. It almost gets like a cloudiness to it. And this is something interesting I discovered. We did an absinthe tasting with one of those really cool, like 1920s Art Nouveau looking absinthe pitchers with the little spigots on the side. And we were at Lulu White's in the Pigalle. And we did an absinthe tasting, and the guy was fantastic. The bartender comes from behind the bar and sets this apparatus in front of us and our glasses, and he walks us through the different types of absinthe. And I had never done an absinthe tasting before, although I enjoy absinthe. I thought you just put some water in, no big deal. No, he actually was talking to us about how much water you put in can make a huge flavor difference. So you literally can change the flavor of the same glass by putting 2 more drops, 3 more drops. So we had a lot of fun trying it with one level and then adding a few more drops and trying again, adding a few more drops and trying again. I encourage you to give that a try if you're somewhere that does absinthe tastings, because it's super enjoyable, and it's a really nice way to explore the flavors of absinthe, the different flavor profiles, and how water affects it. So similarly, if you're going to have a Pernod or a Ricard, a little pastis, you can add a little or a lot of water. I tend to add a fair amount of water because I'm usually drinking it because I really want to be refreshed. But I love this, so we're going to have a little taste. So you can smell,
so good.
Yeah, you can smell that licoricey taste, but it's not bitey.
No, it's not at all. It's like you smell it, you taste it, but it's not overwhelming at all.
And there is a point at which if you don't add enough water, you do get that really strong licorice taste. So if you're trying this and you get that and it's too much for you, add a little more water. It couldn't be more simple.
But go slow, because you can't take it away.
Yeah, you can't. Well, then you can always throw a little more pasties in there.
Good point.
So yeah, this is the strangest drink that I decided I love because I hate black licorice, but this is like one of my favorite things to drink in Paris. And I really need to start drinking it here at home. I don't know why I don't. I always forget about it, but this summer is going to be my summer of pastis. So, delicious. Now, yes, I'm assembling quite a little collection of glasses back here. So, I think I know a fair amount of cocktails, but I love it when somebody is like, oh, have you ever heard of this? Have you ever heard of that? So somebody just taught me 3 new pastis cocktails I'd never heard of. So one is, and they all start with the pastis, the Pernod or the Ricard, and they add in another flavor element. So one is une tomate, a tomato. There's no tomato in it. The reason they call it that is you're adding 4 parts of pastis to 1 part of grenadine, which gives it that red color, and you can put a little bit of water in that over ice. And that's a fun, another pastis cocktail that you can do. Another one, I'm not going to butcher the pronunciation, but basically it's a parrot, and you're adding, instead of the grenadine, you're doing 4 parts of the pastis with 1 part of a mint syrup. Now, I'm going to skip that one. I'm not crazy about mint syrups. They taste like, I don't know, I just don't love them. So I think if I did it, I would do my own mint-infused simple syrup rather than buy something, because you're going to get like a fresher flavor. It's not going to taste so like ersatz. I don't enjoy that. And then the third one that I was just introduced to, I'm going to make for you. This one really caught my attention because it has an ingredient that before this I'd only ever used in tiki drinks. And it's called orgeat syrup. It's a syrup that is traditionally made, it actually was originally made with barley. Now it's made with ground almonds and sugar, and it's either flavored with orange flower water or rose water. Those are the 2 most traditional ways that you see it. I happened to find a bottle of the Fee Brothers orgeat. A couple other brands make it. If you can't find it, try, you know those Torani syrups that you get, and some people put them in coffees. They do make an orgeat version of the Torani syrup, and it's not quite the same, but it's close enough. So this I just found at my liquor store, Beverage Warehouse, which has a little bit of everything. And I'm going to make this. So this is called un moresque, and it was created by the French soldiers in the Algerian campaign. And un moresque is a Moor or an Arab, that's where you get the name. And it's really simple. We're just starting with the pastis again. I'm going to grab a couple glasses here and build these right now. So I'm actually going to build this in my my mixing container. So here we go. So as I said, the other drinks, they're all basically 4 parts of the pastis to 1 part of whatever the flavoring agent liqueur is. So I'm going to put, oh yeah, I'm a genius. I actually pre-poured this the wrong way. So here's one. It's been a crazy day. I was like, why do the colors look wrong? There's 2. And I'm building 2 cocktails here, which is why I'm doing so much. Here's 3. Here's 4. I'm eyeball measuring, so don't get your scales out. I tend not to get too crazy with measurements. I think you can really wing it mostly and have it be lovely. And then there's 1 part of the orgeat syrup. So I am just gonna stir this together. Again, see how the Ricard, the pastis, it changes from that dark yellow clear into this milky, this still has a golden color to it. And that's it. Now I'm gonna give this a little strain into a glass. I'm actually gonna go ahead and put ice in here too. Our ice is melting quickly. It's very hot today. And we have the air conditioner turned off so you guys can hear me, but it's warm. So I'm gonna go ahead and just, and now I haven't tried this yet. This is a new one for me as well. And so I'm very curious what this will taste like, but I can't imagine that.
You're guinea pigging yourself.
I always guinea pig myself. I do this a lot actually on Soirée. I'd be like, oh, I haven't tried this yet. Let's try it together. Because that's part of the fun of food or cocktails or whatever is give it a try. What's the worst thing that you can happen is you don't like it and you don't try it again and you pour it out and do something else. So don't be afraid to not like something. You guys have seen me here before with guests and we'll try something new, and maybe some of us will like it and some of us don't. That's okay. Not everything is going to be a hit for everyone, and that's part of the fun of trying new things all the time. Is you find the ones you like, you experiment on your friends, you self guinea pig, you make other people's guinea pig. Okay, let's try this.
Keep cutting off the camera.
Oh, that's okay.
But
Cheers.
cheers. Okay. Ooh,
Oh, I like that.
that is sweeter. It's got, I feel like it's got more licorice flavor in there than the last one.
Which is really interesting because the almond is what we added.
Yeah.
I'm actually curious about something if we do a little heavier on the orgeat syrup. And here's another thought. I think it needs a little water because I think it's a little thick. So let's try that.
Now we have a full cocktail.
It's hot and we're thirsty. So yeah, I think it needed a little water. How is this better?
You know I love licorice, so this is all good for me.
Yeah, I like this. This is really interesting though. She's right. The orgeat syrup, for some reason, heightened the licorice flavor. And I can't really explain that because I assumed it would do the opposite and really cut it down. But something about the almond made the licorice more licorice. I don't know. I like this. I'm going to say I like just a regular pastis and water a little bit better. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. I like it. It's interesting.
Yeah, it doesn't taste that much different than the other one, other than more licoricey. Like,
Well,
I thought it would add more
Me
almond
too.
taste.
Me too. And the thing about this that I probably wouldn't repeat is it does add quite a bit of sweetness to the cocktail. And one of the things that I love about pastis, it's so refreshing.
Yeah.
Like it cuts through the heat of the day, it cuts through your tired feet, it cuts through your brain
This one feels a
fog.
little heavier.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah.
So this is nice. I enjoyed trying it. I think going forward, I would do it with much less of the orgeat syrup. Maybe I would do like half a part of the orgeat syrup and more water because I just don't like that much sweetness in my cocktails. But definitely worth a try and something else that I can use my orgeat syrup for other than my tiki drinks. So I'm always happy to find new cocktails to use the bottles that I've acquired in my bar from. So how are we doing on time, Lisa?
I believe we're about 10 minutes out. Could be 8.
Okay, so I think we have time for one more cocktail. And this one I found, before I do these things, I'm always going down the rabbit hole of Google on recipes and cocktails and food and everything. So of course I'm going on different clicks of Bastille Day and French cocktails and French food. And I found one of my favorite liqueurs. I guess it's not technically a liqueur, it's more of a fortified wine. It's Lillet. So Lillet Blanc is one of my favorite summer cocktail ingredients. They also do a Lillet Rouge and a Lillet Rosé. It's a wine-based aperitif, and it's a fortified wine, meaning they've added some herbs and some bitters and some different things into the wine for the flavor. So,
I just want to say you have a viewer watching from Ecuador.
oh, welcome from
Hi,
Ecuador.
Laura.
That's fantastic. I don't think I've ever had an Ecuadorian viewer before, so welcome. So the Lillet Blanc is really lovely in a lot of summer cocktails. I do some cocktails that pair it with Saint Germain, which is one of my other very, very favorite liqueurs to play with. But the people at Lillet commissioned a couple of mixologists to create 3 different cocktails for Bastille Day: a Liberté, an Égalité, and a Fraternité. And I thought that was a really cute idea. So I took a look at the cocktails, and the Lillet Liberté I'd actually tried before. That's a riff on a traditional Lillet cocktail that it's been around for a while. The Liberté Fraternité had a lot of different ingredients, and it was more made into a punch, and I wasn't going to make a big punch bowl of it. But that was Fraternité. Liberté Égalité looked fantastic, so we're going to try this one. I'm going to dump this out and start again. Okay, so this is another built cocktail. We're not shaking anything up. We're going to make it right here in the mixer glass, and it has 2 ounces of the Lillet Blanc. I've pre-measured these just to make it a little bit easier, and I'm actually going to put a little bit of ice in so I can start chilling these. 2 ounces of the Lillet Blanc, half an ounce of creme de violette. So this is a violet liqueur. It's gorgeous. It's not always easy to find. If you can find it, go for it. A bottle will last you a very long time. I think I've had this bottle a couple of years. It's this incredible indigo color. I don't know if you can even see it on here, but it's really, really beautiful. You actually use it in an aviation, which is a really gorgeous gin cocktail that's a very retro traditional cocktail. So I'm using 2 ounces of the Lillet Blanc, a half an ounce of the Creme de Violette. Look at that color.
That was
yeah,
gorgeous.
it's a showstopper. That's one of the things I love about that liqueur is you get that. And it says 1 bar spoon of Ricard. Now, I don't know. I think that's a weird thing to say as a bar spoon because this is my bar spoon. So, oh well. All right, we'll try it their way. Doesn't seem like very much, but let's go ahead and do it anyway. So 1 bar spoon of the Ricard. I was a little generous. Okay. And then you top it with champagne. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a stir and work it up first. Because I want to get, oh, this color is gorgeous. I want to get this really chilled. And I'm going to get a couple of coupe glasses because I think these would be really fun with this. Oh, I'm already really loving this, it's the way this looks. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and split this into 2, and I will top it with champagne. Yeah, this is super pretty. Now I didn't pull out too many garnishes because we're kind of doing this on the fly before we head out to our other parties, but kind of like I do with an aviation, this might be fun garnished with a Luxardo cherry to bring out the color in it. Okay. So I'm going to top this with some Prosecco. And here is our Lillet Égalité. Let's see. A little stir. A little stir. Okay. Want to give this a try?
I do.
This is worse. Also, we're guinea pigging again, so.
But you know, I love them.
Oh, I like that.
That's really nice.
Yeah, that's pretty. You get the tiniest bit, and they really did mean a bar spoon, so I need to start listening when people tell me these things. You don't want to put a ton of the Ricard in because it is a very strong flavor, but you do get a bite of it.
Yeah.
Just a tiny bit. And I still taste the Lillet Blanc.
You know, I've never had the Lillet Blanc, so that's new for me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, how I don't know how I missed having thinking you that.
Unless
No,
I
you
did
may not.
I don't think I
You may not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't done a lot of summer cocktail things lately, and that's one of my summer go-tos. I did a cocktail earlier this year with the Lillet Rosé, and I infused it with cardamom. I have to look up what cocktail it was. It was really gorgeous. I cracked the fresh cardamom seeds, took the pod off, and put the seeds in the bottle of the Lillet Rosé.
I've never had the cardamom in the cocktail until I went to the Indian restaurant. That was
Oh,
on
yeah.
that.
There used to be this fantastic Indian restaurant here in Culver City, and they closed it, unfortunately, but their cocktail program was out of this world.
So unusual.
Using the traditional Indian spices and flavors and incorporating them into really accessible, drinkable cocktails. So I like this.
Cheers.
I think that this is fun. It's not sweet. Now, if you wanted it sweeter, you could go a little heavier on the Creme de Violette, and that would also increase the color. As the color is very pretty. The other thing is that
it's a brunch drink.
Yeah, this is brunch, but it needs, like, you don't want to shake it, but it needs something. I don't know. This one needs something, like a tiny little squeeze of lemon or something. It needs like a little bit of something. I don't know. I feel like it's missing something.
Do you have lemon? Should we try it?
I don't have it handy. I'd have to cut one open.
Right, next time.
Well, wait.
Oh, wait. Oh my gosh. We're going to do it.
We're going to call an audible. All right.
Let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens. Because so I like to think of lemons the way, in a cocktail, the way you add salt to food. Sometimes if something is just feeling like a little bit dull, you need that little brightening agent. So
well, that's what happened. I had a watermelon feta salad the other day that needed lime and a little bit of salt.
Yeah.
You know, and then it was perfect.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, see that?
Nope.
That did something.
It brightened it up.
Yeah. It was tasting a little flat to me, and also one of the reasons it is I poured this in a coupe, and it's not a shaking cocktail, and it didn't have a whole lot of time to cool, and there's no ice in here. So it's feeling a little flat. I would maybe do these over ice, or I would shake up the non-champagne elements and strain them in the coupe so you get that frothiness with the ice, and it kind of breaks up the chips a little bit, and then I would top with champagne, because I think Lisa's taking the stairs down, the escalator down. Yeah, I think it needs to be either over ice or shaken and then champagne on top, just because it gets a little flat. Or maybe my Prosecco's been in the fridge a little bit too long, so. Yeah, I like it. I would try this one again. I will try the other one that I haven't tried yet, but as I said, they did it this whole punch bowl type thing, and I wasn't going to make a whole big bowl of punch. So we are going to wrap things up here, and then we are going to have a few bites of the snacks that I made and call Uber and head to downtown LA for a Parisian Bastille Day celebration at the places downtown, and we can't wait. There's one that I haven't tried yet, and I've been really anxious to try, so I'm very excited. And I'm going to encourage you to grab a bottle of Pernod or Ricard, grab some pasties, and give it a try. It really is a super fun, refreshing, especially summer cocktail, but great for all year long. And it's a great way to try something new and serve it to your guests out by the pool. It's really enjoyable. It's very French. So have a wonderful Bastille Day. Have fun watching the soccer game tomorrow. As a football fan, I'm pretending to care. But it's always a great excuse for a party, so go blue. But I'm wishing you guys a wonderful Bastille Day. Thank you for joining us. And we're going to finish a couple of our cocktails and then head downtown. So, au revoir.
Au revoir.